Afternoon. Change the language settings. So welcome everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Can someone give me a thumbs up? Yeah, perfect. So welcome at the second session that we have around the Dynamics 365 Contact Center. Second one in the deep dive series. Today we're going to take a look at the agent experiences empowered by Copilot. So we're going to take a look at Copilot in a little bit more depth. Also, we're going to take a look at the supervisor experience and what kind of analytics do we actually have. I'm going to jump in and out of the PowerPoint. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll happily have some interaction, right? That's what we're all here for. So interrupt me whenever you want. Perfect. There was a few questions to know if you are missing the recording, if you missed one of the invites, if you didn't register for all of them. There's a YouTube playlist where everyone, where all the recordings are going to be uploaded and where everyone can find all of the previous sessions as well. And obviously this one will be updated, will be uploaded there as well. So the overview, let's talk about the agent experience first. So the contact center, as we already said last week, is the new kid on the block. It's basically customer service, Dynamics customer service, where we previously could add the voice add-ins onto and the digital messaging add-ons onto. It's basically that, but then stripped from the case management functionality, right? So it's like customer service light, so to speak. Obviously, it has a different take, right? It's primarily used to just do the customer contact registrations when someone calls or someone sends an SMS or sends a portal message or something like that. It is usually combined with a CRM, and that could be customer service from Dynamics, from Microsoft itself, or you can leverage any other CRM that we have out there amongst other Salesforce. Right. So customer contact center, it's basically the single pane of glass that we use to provide care to our customers through different kinds of channels. It has all of the self-service capabilities that you might want. That means that you can leverage IVRs, you can leverage chatbots, you can leverage all of the Power Automate stuff and have all sorts of integrations there regarding your self-service capabilities. But obviously, you can also escalate that to a human, where we can have all sorts of amazing stuff like sentiment routing, skill-based routing, normal priority-based routing to the right agent, right? So we're driving efficiency and reducing costs, and we're going to take a look at how that works right now. So what's new, as we already said, one of the flavors that we have is Dynamics Customer Service plus Contact Center, and one of the other flavors that we now have new, what is the new addition, is that you can actually integrate this with your existing CRM. And that's pretty awesome, right? Not everyone is a Microsoft company. Not everyone has an already existing Microsoft ecosystem within the company. Sometimes they're on Salesforce or on ServiceNow or on Pega or something else. And this gets all of the capabilities that we love from the Dynamics world, which is Copilot, customer or the conversation summaries, the right knowledge at the right time. All of those capabilities we can now leverage and bring to that existing CRM, right? So why choose Microsoft? There's a few different ones out there, right? If we take a look at the competitors, there's a few niche players. The Magic Quadrant just came out. Microsoft isn't even on there. Google isn't on there as well. Just the very niche players like Nice or Puzzle or some other old school vendors are in there. Microsoft is doing something new, right? That means that it's a fully cloud-based solution. Doesn't need to run on-prem or can't run on-prem. And it's also really integrated into that Microsoft ecosystem. Microsoft has all of the little Lego pieces that we need to build an incredible, scalable, and reliant contact center. All of the stuff in Azure, all of the building blocks for direct routing to bring your own phone carrier, all of that stuff comes together in this specific solution. And of course, it is all wrapped up in a Copilot AI kind of jacket. The customer momentum is really strong. We see it all around. It's not just in the Netherlands where I'm at. We have a lot of interest in this. We have a lot of demos, inspiration sessions around customer contact center. We see it throughout the whole world. In all of our offices throughout the world, we see an uptick in requests around this. And that is because AI, the enormous hype of AI, is also coming to that customer service space where we want AI to help us in deflection, in self-service, in having a more emphatic, quality kind of conversation with that client. Get that first time right resolution rate up. And one of the things that it really does well is exactly that, right? So we see Lenovo, for example, we see 1-800-Flowers. All of those companies are trying it out, are working together with Microsoft to also embed it into their CRM systems that they have. Some of them have Salesforce, some of them have Dynamics. It's being rolled out globally. Mind, and we'll look at that in a bit later. If you want to do a demo yourself, if you want to get rolling with this product, you can't find a trial of it on the website of Microsoft yet. And that means that if you want to do a trial, you can only do a trial for customer service, which has all of the capabilities of contact center on board as well. But obviously, if you want to integrate it into your Salesforce, you don't want to contact the case management part of it. So you have to make do with double case management. There's plans to introduce that demo on contact center. So literally contact center without case management in there. It's not there yet, but that's in the works. So we talked a little bit about the user-centric approach that last week. We have a bunch of customers that want different channels. They have different demands on how to get the service from you as an operation, from you as a company. That means that we usually see different channels, live chat, email, different social channels, SMS, old school one, but also just voice and Teams, right? If it's an internal help desk or an internal contact center. On top of that, we see all of the intelligence assistants, which means chatbots, IVRs, and voice bots, and now also a hype towards the digital avatars that will come later as well. And obviously afterwards, if we need to escalate, we have that unified routing layer that makes sure that the right call comes to the right agent, right? So we check on skills, we check on the best match for this specific or client for this specific type of topic, and we match that to the agent. And of course, at the end, we have the supervisors and service leaders that can literally monitor all of the incoming stuff in real time, great dashboarding to make sure that we, well, give out the best service, that we schedule all of our agents really well, that we have the best fit of that, the best spread of that, so that we can also train our agents better if in that quality of conversation. So let's look at the agent experience. If we talk about the agent experience, there's two different flavors that we try to distinguish. One is the standalone agent experience, meaning that you can use the product without embedding it into any other system, right? That's the experience that you also get with the trial of customer service that I was talking about just now. And we have the other flavor, which is embedded, and we're going to take a look at it both. How does that look? So in the standalone experience, we try to have that single pane of glass, right? We try to have that consistent omnichannel experience that we infuse with Copilot to bring you the right knowledge at the right time. In the background, there's all sorts of things that we can automate for our agents, right? Meaning that if we want to say, hey, I want to process it into another system. I want to do outgoing SMS, for example, instead of just incoming and the conversational way of SMS. We can leverage Power Automate for all of those building blocks as well, which opens up a whole new world of possibilities, right? There's more than 1,400 different connectors on the Power Automate side that can literally integrate it with, well, almost every system out there. There's really deep integration with Microsoft Teams, meaning that if you want to discuss a case, if you want to discuss a specific call, if you want to transfer a call to a Teams agent, if you want to consult one expert through Teams, that is all deeply integrated. There's also something called swarming, which means like I want to now get an emergency group of experts together, work on something really quick, and then go back to my original call. That is all done through Teams. And lastly, but absolutely not least, it is a Power Platform app, meaning that it's a low-code app. It's the way Microsoft works with low-code, with Dynamics is that as well. We can tailor all of the screens toward our own demands. We can integrate it. We can put new fields in there. We can change the layout of forms, of lists, of everything that is in the system. We can tailor it to our own needs, right? Obviously in a low-code way, so it will just keep on working when there's updates, and you can do it without any downtime to the actual system, which is also a really big plus. So what does the agent experience look like? And as I said, I will jump back in and out of the actual system in a bit, but I just wanted to show you some screenshots of that contact center flavor that has no case management, because it's a little bit different. In this case, on the left, we have all of the channels, all the unified channels. So depending on the type of conversation, you'll see chat, you'll see voice, you'll see social messaging coming in, SMSs coming in. In the middle, you have the customer details that pop up. All of that is customizable as well. And on the right side, we have that AI panel in this screenshot, which is the Copilot that literally helps you can ask a question to your own body of knowledge. It will help you set up prompts to ask your body of knowledge around topics that are live discussed in that conversation, and it will bring you the right knowledge articles immediately. You'll also see different kinds of Copilot panels. Like underneath, we have the conversation summary that pops up, and we have timeline highlights. We'll dive into that in a little bit more, in a few slides. As I said, 1,000 plus connectors. Salesforce, ServiceNow, all are included, but also things like Twitter or X, as I should call it now, Zoho, all sorts of other CRM systems are there. This is the standalone experience, meaning that they can just launch this as a desktop app, right? Nothing else is needed. It is, of course, a web-based system. They can run it on every system that has a web browser, meaning that it also just works fine on, for example, an iPad, right? So let's look at it in a little bit more detail. As I said, simplified agent UX, depending on, it doesn't matter which channel. We see the customer, we see the runtime, we see the sentiment, if it's a positive or a negative talk. Mind, all of the AI capabilities can be turned on and off. If your organization is not yet ready to use AI, it's easily turned off. We have customer recognition, meaning that if a customer calls in with a specific number or sends an email from a specific email, we'll automatically match that to the right customer. If we can't find a match, the agent is able to pick a customer from the customer base or look for a customer there or create a new customer, all in the same flow. We have conversation control with all those Gen AI capabilities. We also have live translation of this. So if they type in a different language, there's live translation on the summary, but also live translation on the messaging itself. Next to that, all of the agents have a inbox view. So we have a bunch of different kinds of ways that an agent can look at the work incoming. They have a work list. So that means that, for example, conversations that are ongoing, or cases that might be ongoing, that are active and on their names, cases that they might be able to pick up, right? I say cases because sometimes you have that integration with customer service. If not, obviously there's no cases there. Then you only have that live conversation period. They can easily switch between contexts of conversations, meaning that if they click another work item, everything will change for them, meaning that they will see the transcript of that live conversation, they will see the customer card for that live person. All of that stuff switches immediately once you pick a different conversation. So you can switch context, making it really efficient if you handle multiple conversations at a time. And obviously, if you're on the phone, that's hard to do. If you have chat conversations or SMS or social conversations, you can do more than one at a time. Agents can bring their own entities into the inbox, meaning that they have all sorts of possibilities to change that inbox and change their dashboarding to their own requirements. They can filter stuff, they can set up new columns, they can put new sort orders in there, they can add columns to different views, and that will all be saved for them personally, right? So that's really nice, because every agent might have a different kind of setup or have a different kind of view, works in a slightly different department where they need different kinds of context. We can all make that happen. On the timeline that we see, so if we're working within Dynamics and you get that conversation up and running, and perhaps it's better if I now show you the actual thing. So let me dive into a demo system that I have live and ready. This is the customer service workspace. So this is contact center plus that case management thing. This is what you get when you spin up a trial. I will show you how to do that in a little bit as well. If I open up any customer, you'll see that we have a multi-session workspace, right? So I can open a new session where all of the stuff that I now click Claudia for are incoming. It's a little bit slow environment, but it's a trial, so give it a sec. You can see that I can have multiple of these cards open at the same time. So if I switch back, if I pick another one, if I say I want to also open this case, you can see that I can quickly go back and forth between those cases, between those sessions. I also have my status here, meaning that I'm available. I'm available for incoming calls or incoming SMSs, depending on the queues and the channels that I'm scheduled for, right? That I'm added to. What we were trying to look at was the highlights. So in this timeline that you will literally see everywhere on the contact card, on the case card, there's a timeline everywhere. You'll see that there's a registration for every point in time that they had contact before. So I can see the transcript of that. I can see the live chats. I can see the emails. I can see the phone calls that might have been made. I can see the appointments. All of that stuff I can open up in the big screen, or I can just have a quick view over here. The amazing thing that Microsoft has built into this dynamic customer service workspace in the contact center space is the Copilot AI. It is included in your license. You don't have to buy it as an add-on, and highlights here work really great. So we got a case summary, we got a highlight summary of all of the stuff happening in the timeline. This really works, right? An agent normally has to go back through all of the previous interactions to see what happened before, right? A customer calls in, and then how many times did you have to say, or an agent say to you, hang on a minute, I will read through what happened last time. This gives the agent an overview in just a few seconds, which is absolutely more accurate than a human could ever write it, right? They will go through all of the previous interactions instead of just the last few ones. So the customer comes in. You can also set this to auto, so it will pop up automatically once a customer calls in. And you immediately have an overview. Hey, this is what is happening with this client. This is where it went wrong the last time. These are the outstanding messages or the outstanding tasks that we have, right? Really, really powerful. Going back to the timeline, as we said, there's a Copilot, or there's all sorts of Copilot settings. All of these settings can be turned on and turned off in the the contact center admin center. The admin center is your single pane of glass for everything related to your contact center. We'll dive into that a little bit further in a few slides when we go through most of the settings, but you can literally tailor everything. You can turn off and on all of those settings for the clients, all of those AI settings as well, if you're not yet there, right? So in this case, for example, I have the ask a question. Now, I just set it up, so this is just warming up. Or write an email to help me write an email. All of that stuff is in there. If you don't want that, if you don't want your agents to have that just yet, you're absolutely free to turn that off, right? So in this case, Claudia is there. If you want, as an agent, to say, hey, I want to respond to Claudia. Hey, I want you to call me back. I want to discuss things with you. I can, for example, suggest a callback. I can do that from here or from the side. And you'll immediately see that I have a really personalized message with the name of the client, my name as a user, and of course the message in between. If I want to do that differently, if I want to start over, if I want to make it longer, if I want to make it more simple, I can do all of that. I can also easily translate it if I want to have it in Chinese. I can't read if it's valid, but that would be an easy thing to do, right? If I want to start over and say, well, I don't want to actually have a call, I want to just say I want to solve the problem, right? That is also obviously a possibility. I can describe what I want. I can, for example, say solve the customer's problem, and do so in Dutch, right? So you can literally give Copilot a prompt, and it will quickly do that. It will just quickly write that message in Dutch, and it will try to help solve the problem if there's enough information. Right? In this case, I'm not in the case view. I'm on the client view, so it can't solve anything because I'm not in the case view. If I would do this from the case view, so instead of on the contact card, I would go to an actual outstanding case. You'll also see that I have a case summary. So not only a timeline summary, but I also have a case summary, which is really nice. Well, there's not enough information for now. But if I do and type an email from here, so I'm related to a case right now, I should be able to, no, it's not here. I'm sorry. They should be able to solve the problem. And it doesn't show that just yet because it's still doing some indexing on the knowledge base. I was a little bit later setting this environment up. As I said, we have that inbox. So let's go back to this. We have all sorts of dashboarding, right? Where I can see the cases, where I can see the cases available to work on, where I have all of the tasks and appointments that I might have. If I don't have the case management, obviously this list is a little bit shorter, but I also have that inbox view. And that inbox view is just everything that is assigned to me. I can quickly go through, I can quickly do callbacks for, and I can quickly respond to everything. Right, so not just cases. As I said, you can do that for every entity. I can do that for every conversation, and then have Copilot in there to assist me with all of the stuff that I need. Mind, it is a web application. Screen estate is important, as you already saw. The more side panels you open up, the less screen estate you'll get, and sometimes it feels a little bit cramped. So if you have agents working with this, a bigger screen is better than just a laptop screen, for sure. If we take a look at the embedded experience, it's a little bit different. So embedded means embedded into a different system, embedded into a system like Salesforce, right? We can still see Salesforce in the background. I can see this little layover, this little square where I have the embedded widget of customer contact center. Mind that you can use them both at the same time. So if I have contact center, I can literally have a standalone version where I also use the embedded version into Salesforce, right? If I log into this, this will work in context with the records of that specific CRM system. So in this case, it will have all of the context from the record that you're looking at in Salesforce. It will have the case information, the case title, the description, all of that stuff is available to Copilot to also get the summary, to also answer questions of the customer in context, etc. All of the stuff that you do in here, like summarization of the conversation that you are having, go back to that CRM system as well. So that means that the transcript and the conversation summary will be written back to a Salesforce record, right? So that's really cool. It can also leverage the knowledge base from your CRM of choice. So in this case, it will be able to log in to Salesforce, and we'll see that in just a few seconds when I switch to that live. The same thing happens here. I can have the sentiment analysis. I will have that conversation summary. I will have the same options where I can transfer my calls, consult with people from Teams, have canned replies, have Copilot do stuff with it, have my knowledge base at my fingertips in this panel. That will all work really well. So if we want to test this out, if you want to do this yourself, let me switch back to the admin center. So if you set this up, you can go to customer contact center of the admin center of this, and you go to home. If you set it up, if you're here the first time, there's a button that says quickly set up your contact center. If you say that, it will just run through a small script that sets up all of your voice chat of default work streams. So you literally have a jump start on the rest of the settings. Once that is done, you will also, let me go to that. Okay, well, come on. I closed it down, and now it needs a few more seconds. It's always the case when you demo something. Once that is done, you can test stuff out. So I can test the chat as if I was talking with a customer. So I can open this chat pill up and then have that client-side chat bubble to test it out. The same thing with voice. It will spin up a phone number for you. So this is a number that has been given out by Microsoft to just test it out. It has 60 minutes of interaction included with it, but I can use this to call in and see that voice channel, that voice conversation happen. The new thing that was just launched with the launch of Contact Center is that conversation widget that is for that embedded experience. So you already see it's a embeddable conversation widget. I have a new pill here that can test this widget. And if I click it, this is what it looks like, right? So literally now I'm testing it obviously in the context of Dynamics CRM, which makes no sense. But if I integrate this widget to Salesforce, I will have that entirely embedded experience there. And you can already see that if I want to add my CRM knowledge base here, I obviously have to set it up once through Salesforce or ServiceNow. More of them are coming, or you can integrate them yourself, right? So really, really cool. Let me go back. Agent experience profiles we'll look at in a little bit, and the AI topics as well. So go back to this one. Yeah, so we can test it out. As I said, we have that live chat that we can test out as well. We have that live knowledge base integration that we can test out as well. Mind that if you go and work through or if you integrate it to Salesforce or ServiceNow, or you will use it with your own knowledge base, it doesn't really matter. Copilot needs some time to index, right? You saw that why I couldn't get a solution for the problem just yet. It needs around 4 hours to index the knowledge base, to get all of the articles indexed, to make sense of it all before it can use that in the answers that it gives. That also means the effect of that is that it is not a live system, meaning that if you have some emergency knowledge base article, if you have information about a disaster that happened or a diversion on the road, right? Copilot is not your friend. It can't deal with that kind of urgent information because of that indexing, right? If you want to do that, Contact Center and Dynamics all have different kinds of systems to notify the users about, right? Like bannering, like stuff on the front page, like putting notifications in that little bell that is normally up here, right? There's a bunch of ways that we can actually do and notify the users there. But Copilot isn't one of them. So as I said, out-of-the-box support, for now, it's Salesforce and ServiceNow. There's more coming. There's a GitHub repository where there's code where you can easily integrate it with any other systems. So we'll also suspect that there's going to be a lot of different kinds of CRMs that will build that integration themselves based on the toolkit that is in there. It's really easy to do if you want to do it yourself. But as I said, it's we'll see that growing really fast. Obviously, you cannot just do it with any web or any CRM. You can also do it with any website, right? Then obviously you don't have the context of a record, but you can still have that calling experience and that Copilot experience happening in there. If you have, for example, any other system like, I don't know, perhaps you want to include it on your SharePoint or your stuff like that. If we want to go beyond that out-of-the-box integration, as I said, there is a GitHub repository. There are reference implementations, so you can actually see how Microsoft did it for ServiceNow and Salesforce. And what we will see is that we will have a CTI driver URL that is already in there right now, but it's going to be expanded with all of those different kinds of integrations that we will see coming, right? So basically see it as a flavor switcher, if you will. Let's zoom in a little bit more on Copilot. So Copilot, as I already said, it's naturally conversational, channel independent, meaning that you can literally use it everywhere. No matter what kind of conversation comes in, be it an email, an SMS, a voice call, it doesn't matter. All of that stuff is being handled and can be read and can be processed through Copilot. It is a really powerful search engine, right? The search engine on Copilot is much more useful than it was to use the basic search. For example, if I would say I want to, I got some, I don't know, you can use synonyms, right? So Copilot knows the word house. If I say I'm looking for a house, it knows that that is probably the same thing as your intended phrase. I'm looking for a building, right? It doesn't matter what wording your knowledge base uses, because Copilot uses that AI to, well, find that right knowledge, even if you use different wordings. And that wasn't the case before, right? The search before was a literal search based on keywords, and now it's much more smart. And that's why it takes also a while to actually index for that. There's also a feedback system in there. We already saw that with knowledge-based articles. We also see that with Copilot, where the agent can literally say, well, this feedback was great or this feedback was horrible. And we will get that back as a supervisor, so we can improve the knowledge base, or we can improve how Copilot handles those questions. Same email assist, but now embedded in your CRM. As I said, that also works for the writing of CRM, the writing of emails in a different CRM. Mind that this marketing picture is obviously really nice. This integration is a little bit more dumb, meaning that you have to copy and paste stuff back and forth instead of it being able to put that into your email drafting window immediately with a click of a button, right? So if you use it without customer service from Microsoft itself, all of the functionality is available, but it's a little bit more hassle than if you use it in the Dynamics world. What is really cool is though that you have the context of that record, you have the context of the client, and you have your knowledge base available to draft that email. So it is really a good help. Wrap up the conversations really fast. As I said, you can have that conversation summary also in that embeddable view. You can also have it translated, but mind that the translation is only available in the standalone version and not in the embed version just yet. But hopefully that is coming. And then the conversation summary can be written to that case afterwards. As I said, it's a single click when a case is open, summarize the case. That also works in the other CRM systems because you got that integration, that tightly integration. So that's just a click of a button also in Salesforce. Build trust. It is really important for agents to feel that they are still in control. That means that Copilot will not do anything automatically. It will always have that human in the loop. It will always present the agent with the options that are there, with the options that, like write an email, do this, a copy over that, right? It will always ask the agent before it does anything. Obviously, it tries to get you the right knowledge at the right time, so it does propose a lot of things, but it will not take action on your behalf. It will always show source citations, meaning that if it will surface knowledge, you can, as an agent, see where that knowledge comes from, and you can click it, and then you can open up the big article itself, which might go to another system, right? That is really important because sometimes you got so many information in your knowledge base with really a lot of nuance in there, and you want to make sure that something is the exact right article for it. In this case, an agent can just click it, open it up in a new tab, scan it real quick. Yes, this is the one, and then use that in the answer to the client. And that is a whole lot faster than searching for it yourself. So Copilot is best practices from Copilot itself. It is what we call automatic prompting, the auto intent identification. Meaning, and that is, I think it is a really cool thing, if a conversation is ongoing, so if Diane in this case has this conversation with the agent, Copilot will automatically try to put a few prompts for you, suggested prompts that you can just click. So you don't have to type it out, but you can literally just click it and then it will get that answer for you that you can just copy paste directly to your conversation with a click of a button, depending on where you are. This is now supported in the standalone mode. So it is already in contact center and in the customer service, Microsoft Dynamics customer service. It is not yet in the embedded mode, but it will be soon, right? So it is on the roadmap. Copilot does also do translation. So that means that all of the language models are there's a bunch of language models that are added, a bunch of languages that are added, and I can literally just click on the message, say I want to translate it. The same goes for summarization, translation, rephrasing, all of that stuff. That all works, right? So you saw me just typing that out in Dutch. If I wanted that message or translating it into Chinese, that works well. You can also do that live with your conversation, right? Copilot translation is afterwards, where you can have that, literally every string of text in there, you can translate it to a different language. I have an overview of the translation languages in a few slides. So inline translations that are customer ready, right? You can literally say, even if your knowledge base is in English, you can have that answer being generated in Spanish. And that is really cool, right? Because It doesn't matter in what language your knowledge base is, right? I can literally upload all of my manuals that are possibly in English while I tend to a Dutch audience, and then ask Copilot, hey, give me an answer to this, right? Give me that answer in Dutch, and it will literally take that English knowledge, get the answer, and then give me the output in Dutch. So this is really empowering to the agent. You can literally serve a lot of customers more, a lot of a wider audience than you could before, right? Timeline highlights, as I already said, this is not yet supported. Well, it's not supported in embedded mode. It's not on the roadmap either. This is just supported in the standalone mode, not in the embedded mode. So what are we using for input? As I said, what actually does it use? As we already saw, the host CRM, the knowledge articles could be the first party or third party knowledge base articles. That's fine. You can add more than one sources to your indexing, meaning that I can add my knowledge base from Dynamics, and I can also add my Salesforce document folder, and I can add my database that is in Azure. That can all be combined. For drafting emails, it will use all of the email threads, the case, the description, the notes from the host CRM, meaning that it could be Salesforce, could also be Dynamics itself. Case summarization, same thing from the host CRM, and for the summarization, it uses that conversation transcript. Right? This is the language support roadmap. We're now in November, so all of the October ones are in there already. I'm actually doing a nice demo in Norwegian. So we had the pleasure of trying that out, and that works really well, right? For November, for this month, there's a few languages on there, which is Arabic, Hebrew, Chinese, and Portuguese, traditional Chinese. So those will be added as well. And this is for translation and for the display, right? For the whole interface. So let's take a deeper look. If we want to set it up, how can we quickly get you up to speed? If you already have a license, if you buy a license for contact center, this is a quick way to set it up. And I will show you after, if you don't have a license, how you can set up a trial. If you already have a license, you can go to Power Platform Admin Center. You can literally create any environment. And while you are doing that, you want to add a Dataverse store. You want to say, I want to enable the Dynamics apps, and you want to automatically deploy contact center in there as well. Mind that you will have the need for an actual license before you are able to pick this one, right? Otherwise, it will be there as an option, but it will be grayed out. If it's provisioned, it takes a few minutes. You literally have the option to add users and roles. Make sure that you give yourself, as the admin, also the omnichannel administrator role and the omnichannel agent role. If you do not do this, you're still the admin of the system, but you won't be able to use the interface, the multi-session interface, to receive calls, to pick yourself and put yourself in a queue. So these roles are really important that you will add them to all of the users that you want to act as an agent. Next, open it up. And if you open it up, that is what you'll get. As I said, you will start with that home screen where you can literally say, I want to start it up. You can pick your channels. What kind of channels would you like? You want to have voice, chat, social channels, SMS, and Teams. That is all in there. Mind that the SMS provider is not native. So if you want to do SMS, then you'll need an account for Twilio or Telesign. There's a few suppliers out there that can help you with SMS. And it is a really easy setup, not to worry. but it is not a native experience. We have WhatsApp now offered as a first-party channel, so there's no need to go through a different vendor. That was the case before. Now we can just click and configure that within the Customer Contact Center Admin Center. And this is the experience, the startup experience. If you go through it, you'll see that little thing spinning up, creating a chat queue, creating a work stream, creating all of the voice streams, the agent experiences. It sets it all up in a matter of minutes. And then obviously it's much more easy to adapt the thing that is set up for you than to start from scratch and do it all in a greenfield. And this is what we talked about before, right? The embeddable experience that you can also clone, that you can create for yourself. Let's take a look at analytics then. So if we are that supervisor, we want to have that single pane of glass as well. We want to see and monitor all of the conversations that are incoming. We want to monitor all of our agents. We want to see how they're doing. We want to know what the sentiment is. We want to check on the historical report. We want to have some forecasting, perhaps see what kind of knowledge base articles are being used. And Dynamics does exactly that. So it will give you that single pane of glass with all of that dashboarding in there. We have two kinds of dashboarding. We got real-time monitoring, and we got, of course, historical analytics. The real-time monitoring is all Power BI dashboards. The real-time monitoring is on a continuous refresh under 10 seconds, meaning that it is really usable for stuff like how many users are currently in the queue, right? How many ongoing conversations do I have? Obviously, normally Power BI would not be really great for that. They did really well with this system where we have near real-time dashboard. Also on the historical side, omnichannel historical analytics, customer service case, the case historical analytics, and also knowledge-based analytics are all reports out of the box that you can adapt, that you can change if you want to. And then there's a third option for the people who really want to go crazy, is a extensible model, meaning that you can customize all of those out-of-the-box analytics with your own model customizations. How does that work? An admin first has to turn this on. So real-time analytics is something that needs to be turned on by the admin. If you spin up a trial, that is obviously done for you because you are the one and only, and Microsoft sets it up for you. If you come from a greenfield and you are installing this at a customer with an existing base, this can only be done by the administrator. The default is on, but sometimes they have it turned off because of security, and then you have to turn it on. This is only a global administrator a thing that they can change. The customers, obviously, they engage through all sorts of channels. That is all stored in Dataverse and through the TDS connector, the Power Platform TDS connector. Power BI is able to get that information in real time and display this great dashboard. So what does that look like? Let's switch to that. If I go back to my customer service workspace, I got the service. Go to the home page. I got my historical analytics. Takes a few seconds. Where I can literally see how many incoming conversations did I have in the last 30 days, how many conversations were engaged in, how many were dropped, what is the customer satisfaction score, speed to answer, all sorts of metrics that I would like to have as a contact center supervisor are in there. not just a supervisor, also as an agent, right? This is a totally filterable dashboard. So that means that I can choose. I want to now see only the stuff that is coming in from live chat. If I click that, you'll see all of the metrics change, and then I can even drill down more by saying, oh, and I also want this just for the agent Anna Boven. All right, and then you can see all of the stuff that Anna Boven has done. I can also, instead of looking through the lens on the conversation, I can look through a lens of the view, of the queue, or of the agent. I can literally see dashboarding specific to an agent, right? So I can say, hey, I want to see all of the details of Ned and get that dashboarding, get all of the details from that specific agent in real time. Not just real time, right? This is the historical one that is also possible. We can also see that for the bot, how many times did the bot, the chat bot or the voice bot engaged, and what was the resolution time for the bot, and when did it escalate, what escalation rate did it have, and how did that compare to the previous window, the time window. And then we can lastly look through a topic a lens, which means that I can see all of the topics and clustered by AI and what the sentiment and satisfaction is on that. This is really cool as well, because normally agents don't really pick up if they have one client call saying, hey, this product is shit. It's a normal day, right? If 60 agents all have one call coming in that says, hey, this product is not working well, no one knows the better. But the system will say, hey, this is weird. We got a sudden influx of negative sentiment and can alert you as your supervisor, like, hey, something is going on. You should handle this perhaps, right? We also have real-time analytics. And obviously, it's loading now, obviously, because it's not a live call center. Most of these things will be empty if they're loading. See, so this is all blank because there's no one incoming, there's no one waiting, there's no service level right now, but it will give you a glance of what is actually possible to do. And the same goes, as I said, for agents. I can literally see live stuff happening for the agents. Per agent, I can see what kind of status do they have. Are they online? Are they offline? Are they currently engaged in the conversation? And as I said, I can also drill through to the agent dashboarding, where I have specifically to this agent, Peter, what are his proficiencies, what is his performance, how many calls did he do, how many times did he appear away. All of that stuff is on there, right? So really, really cool. All of the dashboarding have what we call bookmarks. So bookmarks are not the same as changes, right? Bookmarks are literally just a preset of filters. So if I change all of the filtering on here, if I choose, this is Peter, this is my channel, and I just want I don't want to actually constantly, when I come back, change all of these filters for me, because I'm just interested in that, I can make a bookmark out of that. It is just a preset of your filters. It is not a change of this report, right? So mind that is a different thing. If you do change the report, so bookmarks are really personal. If you do change the report, changes are for everyone, right? Only an admin can actually change the reports. So go back, historical analytics, they work a little bit different. As I said, instead of going through that TDP connector, all of the stuff that is happening here in Dataverse will be copied to the data lake. Could be an external data lake, or could be Microsoft's own data lake in the background. That takes a little bit of time, 24 hours. And then Power BI aggregates all of those averages on there, which is really nice. Real-time analytics, as I said, there's all sorts of drill downs, and the drill downs are, I think, extremely nice. So if I just go back just for 1 second to a historical thing, I already showed you, right? If I pick an agent, that will all change. I can do that with every metric. I can literally say I want to click on this. And if I click on this, you'll see that all of the other stuff will be grayed out, and you'll see all of the specific numbers for that thing that I picked, be it a conversation, be it an agent, be it a different channel, right? All of that stuff is all linked to each other. So this is, I think it is really, really powerful. It's way better than the competitors out there. There's also an ongoing conversation dashboard. So the ongoing conversation list, that is also in the real-time dashboarding. You can see as a supervisor all of the ongoing conversations, all of the statuses of those conversations, who is engaging with it. This is also showing when there's an agent unassigned yet, or if there's a bot that is actually engaging with that conversation. That is also in there, the channels and the sentiment. So you as a supervisor have insights in, like, hey, this conversation is not going well, let me listen in. You can click a conversation and choose to monitor it, and then you literally just listen in on silent. Mind that the agent will get a message like, hey, Supervisor Peter is now joining this conversation. You can chat with the agent without the user, the customer knowing that, without the customer seeing that. But I can also barge in. So if I monitor it first, I can then barge in, join the conversation, or take over the conversation forcefully if needed. If it's unassigned, I can also assign it manually to a specific agent, or I can make sure that once it's on Monica, I can transfer it to someone else, or force close it. Just hang up or close the conversation. If something is abandoned and not closed properly, you can do that as a supervisor. Workloads are really, really cool. You can have that distribution. This is now in preview, by the way, so this is not just in there just yet, but will be coming end of November, hopefully after the Ignite. Here you can assign agents, you can find agents based on their skills. So I can literally say, hey, I see someone coming in through the queue, for example, for a specific replacement of a car part. I want to have an agent that has an exact skill match that can do that. So even when you, and obviously you can do this all automatically as well, right? But as a supervisor, you now have that interface to quickly find an agent or just toss it to a whole different queue. As I already said, you got all of those agents insights as well. The agents insights are powerful. Mind, and that is also important, that agent insights are okay if you do not include sentiment. So sentiment is a thing that you should not use in any performance indication, right? Yes, you can use sentiment to see, hey, on a larger scale, people are happier or less happy than they were last week. On an individual conversation, it is really hard. And that is because the sentiment is being done on the transcription. So not on the tone of voice, not on the intonation, it is done on the transcription. And that means that it can't pick up on any sarcasm. If I say, well, that went well, right? Everyone on this call knows that it didn't went so well, but Copilot will say, well, this is a really positive call, right? So it can't pick up on any of the sarcasm, and therefore it can't be used in performance tracking on that individual level, right? Obviously, it gives you a indication, but that needs some well, more in-depth look before you use that. As I said, you can see the agent dashboarding as well, the agent skills, the proficiency in all of those skills. I can see all of the agent workloads, so to see what kind of conversations did they have, what was the sentiment, etc. What is the average handle time? So really, really nice, well thought out dashboarding throughout. And the historical analytics we just looked at, right? It is a unified historical analytics, so meaning that if you use case management, then you can have that unified interface. You can literally see and monitor the funnel. So when did the customer conversation start? When was the bot initiated? How many of those calls went through the bot and were escalated to an agent or abandoned? Right, this is all live, and you can monitor that through all of the channels. So also through case management, also through SMSs, etc. We also got the bot, right? So the bot, all of the stuff on the bot are there as well. Really insightful information. If you want to see what the bot was engaging with, what the bot told the customer, you will also see that in all of the transcriptions, right? That is also available as part of your conversation. If it comes into the agent, it will quickly, the agent will quickly see what was said by the bot to the agent, to the customer before it was escalated. And mind deflection should never be a goal on its own, right? It should be the goal to help the customer the fastest and quickest way possible, the most efficient way. And yes, if that amounts to less agents or a higher deflection rate, right? That is all the better. It's not a goal on its own. We also have the historical analytics for voice. If you take a look at voice, I think this is absolutely really awesome. All of the conversations, if I view the transcription, if I view the transcript of a social messaging going back and forth, you'll see the messages going in. But if I pick up a voice conversation, you will not only see the transcription, but you will also see this waveform, if you will, where it is indicated on what kinds of spots the sentiment changed. So it will literally show you, you can play back the whole conversation, obviously, if you turn recording on, and then you can quickly skip to the parts where you see, hey, this is where there was negative sentiment, or this is where there was a positive change. It will automatically highlight, if you play, it will automatically highlight the voice, the transcript that is spoken at that time. So you can read along with the actual voice recording. Really awesome as well. We talked a little bit about bookmarks. This is a personal thing, right? So please do use it. It is really nice. You can set all of those all of those bookmarks as the default. So if you have a specific one, just put it as default, and then it will open up for you on that page every time you open up the report. Obviously, you can edit it. So the out-of-the-box reports are editable in the browser inside of the system. If you choose to do that, there's an edit button right there. You will get the Power BI, if you're familiar with this, the Power BI toolkit, where you can just drag and drop different metrics of that data model onto that dashboard. Right, and you can immediately save it. Mind that this is for everyone. You can't make different versions of this report for different kinds of audiences, right? So if I change the dashboarding, it is changed for everyone. I can't say this division needs a different dashboard in the out-of-the-box dashboard. Right? So if you change the out-of-the-box dashboarding, it is for everyone. That doesn't mean that we can't extend it at all or change it at all. There is a possibility to do data model customization. Microsoft made it possible to customize the real-time and also the historical analytics by leveraging the Power BI workspaces. For this, you need a global admin. This is off by default. You need a global admin to grant permissions on Power BI endpoints. You need permissions to use service principals to interact with Dynamics from Power BI. You need to create a workspace, and it will try to guide you through a few of those steps, not all, right? There is all of the other info is in under the read more. The workspace creation is done through a wizard, and then you can add those reports to that customized set. From there, you can alter anything that you want and then sync it back, right? In this way, you can add different kinds of reports in different flavors. So as I said, if you want to really create something else, mind that you do not do that on the out-of-the-box reporting, but use that embedded customization or the customized report that you create through this. As I said, we got an administrator. It needs to customize all of those features. It needs to enable all of those features before you can do something. You can configure the workspace through Dynamics with a wizard. You have to provide people access to the workspace to actually read the report and write the report and work on the report. You do that through Power BI, and then you publish it back to Dynamics, and then the supervisors or agents, depending on who you want it to be for, can actually consume the report. Mind that this requires a Power BI premium license, right? If you do not have this, you cannot consume the report. And that is it. That is the wrap up for today. Are there any questions for this set? So we looked at the agent experience. We looked at the super user, the supervisor experience. Next week, we're going to take a look at a more technical part that is provisioning the ALM, the OLM, and the diagnostics, right? Especially around all of the routing as well. That is all going to be next week. Are there any questions around the experience for the agents or the experience for the supervisor? Let me cut back to the actual team so I can see you again. No one has any questions? Nothing in the chat, nothing in the Q&A. Perfect. Well, I hope that I was clear enough for you to not have questions. Obviously, if you have any questions later on, feel free to find me. Feel free to add me on Teams. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn. If you're in the Netherlands, you can always find me on the third floor of the Capgemini building, somewhere on the south side. If not, yep. Sandra is asking, is it possible to access recording? I put the recording in the chat already, but let me get the link for you there. We got it all set up on a playlist right here. And I will also make the slides available for you if you want to take a closer look at that as well. Hope to see you next week. It's going to be a more technical session and a little bit more, a little bit shorter because it is such a technical session. I hope to see you there. If you have any questions, please find me throughout the week, and then we go from there. See ya.